Yeah,
Yes, sir.
thank you. So will somebody be kicking off before I can share my slides?
So good morning, sir.
Morning. Are we experiencing any more technical glitches?
No, sir. No, sir. We will start in another 5 minutes.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Yeah.
The participants are joining. So
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
sorry,
Sure.
another 2 minutes we will join. A very good morning to one and all. So it gives, I would like to welcome for this webinar series. So it gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all for joining today's webinar. And I welcome Principal Sir, Vice Principal Sir, HODs, Deans, and my dear colleagues with the student community here. We from BMSIT Bangalore have organized the webinar on global career prospects in AI and ML to enlighten the undergraduate students and PU students as part of our Social Connect initiative. As the event is scheduled on 2nd October 2020, on the birth eve of with the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, who was a great leader and visionary ahead of his times. So in this connect, it gives me a sense of pride that BMS management has a legacy and always have great visions towards the field of education. And the testimony stands here by stating that BMS Trust, BMS Management was the first to start engineering education in 1946 and Department of AI&ML as the first undergrad program from AICT. So here, when I talk of AI and machine learning, which is the need of the hour to address the fast growing industrial demands to embrace the technology of artificial intelligence and methods of machine learning. Under the visionary leadership of our beloved principal, Dr. Mohan Babu GN, we started our exciting journey in the year of 2019 with a sanctioned student strength of 60. Our department maintains active research groups for carrying out collaborative and interdisciplinary research. And we stand here for the state-of-art research facilities to support academic programs, research, and corporate training. At present, Indian curriculum has introduced AI at the high school level itself. As a nation with a fast-paced technological and scientific growth, we envision to fulfill and build the infrastructure, human resource, and brain power to address the future problems and opportunities in artificial intelligence so that the student community can, from an early stage, become strong contributors to the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So we have, for today's webinar, who is going to speak on artificial intelligence and machine learning as a scope for their higher education. And we have our esteemed speakers for this day's session, whose words of wisdom, experience, and advice would definitely be of extreme value added to the student community. With a short welcome, I would welcome everybody who has joined for this webinar series that is organized from BMSITM. I would like Dr. Anupama to introduce the speaker for today's session. Welcome you all once again to this session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning to all of you. So here is a brief introduction of Darshan Ravindranath, who is our guest speaker for today. Darshan Ravindranath is joining us today from Sydney, Australia. He is a director at Persistent Systems Australia. Darshan completed his Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics and Communication from Bangalore and went on to pursue his master's degree in United States with the University of Houston, Texas in electrical engineering. He later worked for two world leaders in the semiconductor equipment manufacturing domain. In early 2009, he shifted to the IT domain and spent a decade with Tata Consultancy Services as an account director, managing clients in Australia. Here, he spent significant time in artificial intelligence and intelligent automation service offerings, solving business problems for clients. He has also worked with Xerox Corporation selling artificial intelligence and intelligent automation products. With this brief introduction, we faculties of Department of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning, BMS Institute of Technology and Management, welcome Darshan Ravindranath for this webinar. Sir, now over to you.
Thank you. So I think it's a great privilege for me to be a part of this today, especially my father, who's no more, was an alumni of BMS College of Engineering. So it gives me even immense privilege and a sense of nostalgia, I would say, and he would be definitely proud of this. And thanks for Dr. Mohan Babu, Dr. Bharti, and the dean and the faculty and whosoever is associated in making this happen. I was also told, and like Dr. Bharti just mentioned, that BMSIT was the first AICTE approved College of Engineering to start the AI&ML engineering semester course. So that definitely is a testimony to forward looking of all the people who kind of thought about this. So 3 cheers to that as well. Again, as Mrs. Bharti said, today the artificial intelligence in some way or the other across the globe has been introduced at a school level itself, be it for my son who is about 8.5 years old, or anybody else in higher standards as well. So I would like to share my thoughts, my experience. I'm keeping it really light. I'm sure the students who are at the pedestal of making a choice of primarily engineering, making a choice of primarily what course in engineering that they will take, and specifically today's session is focused on artificial intelligence and machine learning. They will get a feel. I'm sure I just have to remind you of certain aspects, how AI and ML is involved in your day-to-day life, and we will see how it goes. And I'm just sharing my slides at the moment, and we can have a look at that journey, how we go. So are you seeing the title slide at the moment?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. So for me, I call this a pursuit and a lifelong journey, right? Like any education learning never stops, right? So for me, it's a lifelong journey. I'm still learning. I'm still a student of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So that's I thought, how can I make the title very simple? So taking a step back, I know people would have expected that this person or whosoever will directly dwell onto the subject matter, but let's do something differently, right? So for me, and as you students, grow through your age, you will realize that knowing the purpose on why you do, what you do is very important. If somebody today Googles the word engineer or looks it up in a dictionary, the age-old definition, even Google, I just pinged this word yesterday, it gives me the first link, obviously, which shows me, which is again an example of artificial intelligence, is a person who designs, builds, or maintains engines, machines, or structures, right? Now, during my father's days, and I'm sure many of you will associate with that with some of your parents or elders, that an engineer always meant to be in civil engineering or mechanical engineering, right? Building dams, building structures and machines, which was the need of the world, the need of the nation, especially after the First World War or the Second World War, when engineering was in high demand to build any nation. As such, and of course agriculture being definitely one of the sources for development of a nation as well. So I would recommend you taking a further look into a person called Simon Sinek, and he came up with this concept of why should we have a purpose, and how do we achieve that? What all inherent talents that we have within ourselves, right? I mean, are you seeing some traits within yourself of coding or software engineering? And because today you are trying to decide on the what, right? What stream of engineering should I go into? What will be my future? So the what questions are also there, but I would say, ask yourself the why question as well. Why am I getting into engineering? Why am I getting into this field? And I'm sure your thought process will align, and you'll be less confused. And of course, you have all the faculty and ubiquitous use cases. There are some unseen, unheard, things happening around you which are driven by artificial intelligence and machine learning. And if I have to allude to the topic of machine learning ultimately, boils down to the level of coding, right? So there are languages, there are coding scripts, as you call it, called Python, and we are seeing again on the internet or on YouTube where children in schools itself are trying to learn to code and code in Python. During our days, back in the days of our engineering, which was almost 25 years ago, it was C as a language, or C++ as a language, which was very prevalent, which was very fundamental to learn coding, right? And which was then it moved on to Java becoming popular, and now the common thread between any machine learning process is Python as a language, as one of the languages, and I'm sure more to come as well. So what I'm trying to say here again is, even though your chosen choice tomorrow will be AI and machine learning as an engineering stream, you will not only be dealing with use cases which deals with the civil engineering, which deals with even agriculture engineering, as a matter of fact, if that is one of the streams, or mechanical engineering. You have so much of robotics and other things in the manufacturing Internet of Things you might have heard of, which is mostly in the manufacturing world, right? So one is the applicability. So you definitely would have heard of what is called the App Store, right? So how do you realize artificial intelligence? You build applications out of it, right? And how do you build it? You build it using machine learning, and there are many aspects to machine learning. I won't get into too much detail. I have highlighted something called learn and unlearn. So even within learning, so as why do you have 4 years of learning into engineering, right? You are trying to assimilate all the knowledge. It takes, somebody decided some time back. I mean, I think in the very early days it was 5 years, and Dr. Mohan Babu would also remember that it was 5 years of engineering, and later they cut it down to 4 years. So somebody decided as a committee, as a people of authority, that it takes about 4 years for you to be called as an engineer, right? So what are you doing during those 4 years? You are assimilating knowledge, you are learning. So in a similar way, any machine has to learn, and there has to be data to learn, right? You're learning through textbooks, you're learning through teachers, and professors and faculty. So even the machine that you're training has to have a data set, and that is where the whole caption and the acronyms of data being the new oil and data being so valuable to many companies has come into the fore as well. So once you at a fundamental level learn coding as well, which is a good skill to have once you learn the periphery of artificial intelligence and its use cases and its applicability. But how do you go and implement it as an individual? You start coding in those languages and try to build applications, and they will help you solve many business problems, many problems of society, as in the case of agriculture, or as in the case of crime stopping, and so on and so forth. And I've also highlighted, whenever people talk about AI, people always talk about the American companies, right? But you will be very bewildered to know, or surprised to know, that be it ICICI Bank or Reliance, has started making significant investments over the last couple of years. They have predicted the future, like BMSIT, right? And they have made significant investments in people, in acquiring companies, in looking for graduates like you who will be coming out. I heard that you started the course in 2019. So be it the first year students who have completed the first year, and the new joiners who will be coming in for the year 2020. So I think they are laying out a red carpet, they're laying out a platform, they're laying out the businesses, they're laying out the business problems that they would want you to come and challenge and solve for them, right? And I'm sure more companies, more groups like the Tata Group or any other major Indian-born companies will be investing and will be looking out for people educated in this area to come and help them, right? So ICICI Bank being also being one of them. So I move on to the next slide, where I've just given you a snapshot of some of the use cases that I already spoke about to a certain extent. So you name it, you have it, right? So it could be in the gaming area, which mostly interests my young audience today, I think, right? Or it could be in the area of medical surgery, or it could be any website you go to, you have a chatbot today, right? And tomorrow you'll have more personalized assistants in the office. Today, in our corporate world, we are having less of HR staff and more of the virtual agents trying to solve some of our problems that we don't have to really confide in a human. It could be a workplace kind of a bullying issue, or it could be some kind of a private monetary claim that you have raised within the corporate world in relation to your salary or any other things, right? So, or even tax filing. As a matter of fact, we usually go to a chartered accountant and wait in the queue sometimes and all that. So now the robots are actually filing your taxes. And the social use cases are also plenty, right? How do you use neural networks to study and predict the weather and the rains for the farmers, and how you give them access to what is happening as a debate in India, I think right now, is the direct markets, right? So how do you give them the visibility of what are the rates that are happening in the actual markets where it is going to be sold finally to a food world or to a supermarket or anything like that. So how do you put that data into their hands, right? And also, natural language processing. I mean, today I'm talking and all of my speech can be converted into text. And in the yesteryears, we spoke about medical transcription. And today, the doctors are just recording their voice, and you don't have to send it to places like India to do all the transcription, hear it out. People working night shifts and all that in interpreting the American accent or whatever. Today, a robot, a voice assistant can do that. Now, again, people speak of losing jobs. Okay, what happens to those call centers? What happens to those medical transcription centers? What happens to the human labor that is involved? But I'm sure, people spoke about this during the 1950s or the 60s, when machines came into agriculture, when machines came into manufacturing as well. And humans have always found something more credible to do, more creative to do, and use their time more sensibly. And I'm sure, there will be various streams of employment coming in new while the robots are replacing some of the human labor. And in terms of jargons and misnomers, I also have put in, robotics, which comes into play when you speak about artificial intelligence and machine learning. Right? So robotics has always been there, right? Japan as a country, we have known that has been the leader since many decades. And again, they have been used mostly in, if I remember correctly, in the manufacturing, automobile, and those kind of areas, or anything to do with hazardous chemicals and or in mining or something like that. So that is a different field. that is definitely being pushed a lot to the forefront with artificial intelligence coming in to those robots. Earlier, they would just do some mechanical actions, but now they are also doing those actions, thinking for themselves, right? So next would be the robotic process automation as a jargon as well. So robotic process automation is again software robots, right? So you again code to write these robots, and they will help you in solving some of the manual repeated tasks. Again, if you're processing student applications in a college who are appearing for the admission. So how do you take off the admin work, and how do you make a robot scan the documents and take out the valid information, name, first name, last name, which college did he or she come from a pre-university, and so on. So which is a typical example. So in the corporate world, in the business world, a lot of these use cases are being solved by software bots. So don't get confused by robotics, which are actual robots, and robotic process automation, which is nothing but a software or a soft bot, as we call it. So I would also bring out a very sensitive topic. Maybe some of the audience is too young for this, but you should be definitely, since you will be students of artificial intelligence, you should be definitely be knowing some of these sensitive topics within AI, and they are called AI ethics and democratization of artificial intelligence. Now, what does that mean? So tomorrow, let us say your parents submit a application for some kind of an insurance company or a loan, right? And the loan is rejected. Now, if the software robots are processing those applications, at the end of the day, it is an algorithm. It is a code somebody is written saying that if this is the case, reject it. If this is the case, approve it. So I don't want any politics, any kind of social stigma, any other bias, as we call it, to come into the code level and trying to reject that application, right? So this is a hot topic when AI has taken over the world by storm, but somebody has to put a brake and somebody has to really go and assess that how are you using AI? How are you using ethically? Because anything as a power tool can be used unethically as well, right? Be it a weapon or be it a artificial intelligence software code. So read about it. It's pretty interesting. But as students, since you're getting, I thought I should definitely broach you to this topic. And I'm sure this also will evolve as you guys will go through your years of engineering. Democratization means how do you put AI as a power tool, into the hands of the people, right? Now today, only some strong, wealthy companies are owning some of the applications, some of the power to process. But how do you get it into the hands of the end user, right, the consumer? And how do you, also make him or her powerful, like the farmer use case, like I said, right? So that also is a very good topic. And while you're students of AI, also take a look at these concepts and how you evolve as an engineer over the years into building applications which not only are ethical, but also cater to the democracy of individuals as well. Now, I'll be quick. So we always talk about next steps and a plan of action in the corporate world, right? So I wanted to bring in those jargons early into your life. So today you're at the crossroads of deciding how AI/ML as an engineering course, how well spent your 4 years of time, of blood and sweat will be. And I'm sure you're in good hands with BMSIT, with the faculty, with the HOD, and with the principal, and with the dean. But that is the choice you're making today. And what does the future hold, right? You can either pursue your your master's degree within the BMS trust, or even a PhD, or you might, like me, go abroad and to the United States or to the UK or to Australia to do extensive research, and those countries are good because the companies like Google, the companies like Facebook are originated out of there and fund a lot of research in there, right? And I'm sure they're coming to India as well. So how do you build your intellect even further beyond those 4 years? How do you invest 2 years or 4 years or 5 years again? I did my master's, right? And how does the future hold for you? Now, you can either go into a corporate world, you can become an entrepreneur, open your own company, trying to solve problems, and you also have academia to choose as well, where you are so inspired by some of your own professors at BMSIT that you get into the academics as well, and shape the future of the generation coming after you. So I move on to the next slide, and I'm sure these are popular faces. You might not have heard of the first gentleman. I'll make an assumption of that for most of you. His name is Andrew Ng. He's actually regarded as one of the pioneers in artificial intelligence research. Even if you type artificial intelligence course on YouTube, you will get his course. And he also has a stake in Coursera, which is a very popular platform, right? So again, like I said, you can be a researcher. Of course, he's worked for Baidu and Google. Baidu is one of China's largest artificial intelligence companies. You can choose the same path as Sundar Pichai. In fact, Sundar Pichai and I work for the same company called Applied Materials. So we are also from a semiconductor background. Not that I know him personally, but it was a matter of coincidence that I realized. So Sundar shifted from the semiconductor world to Google as a product manager, and look where he is right now, and his major efforts are towards artificial intelligence as part of the CEO of Alphabet as well, right? And the most popular face, Mark Zuckerberg as well, who went on to find Facebook, just as a very recreational activity, and now that platform itself involves and implies and uses a lot of artificial intelligence behind the scenes. You will never know, right? And again, you might have seen how they had influenced the U.S. elections, or there is a debate happening as well, whether or not social media influenced, right? So I would leave it to you to be inspired, but choose your own path, right? And what you want to become. One of my last two slides. So these are some of the top 100 artificial intelligence companies in the world. The country of origin could be anywhere, mostly the US or even India. But and this is just not an exhaustive list. As you see, there are various streams that they are involved in. It could be in simple data science, or it could be in commerce, it could be in finance, it could be in customer management, HR, like I said. So many of these companies trying to solve problems, individual problems in the world. So my recommendation, being a senior in terms of education and experience, try building a problem-solving mindset, right? Again, goes back to ask the question why, and you will get an answer. And problem solving, or a positive mindset, or a growth mindset, as they say, is what you need to be cultivating throughout your years of engineering. Finally, I'll leave you with this last slide of mine. So life is a journey. So even your engineering life is a journey. So don't forget to enjoy the journey. Take it step by step. Take a pause, reflect, and you can't jump steps, right? Some people can, but it's very difficult. You're putting in a lot of effort, right? And you may trip and fall as well. So take it step by step, And like the great old man said, Mr. Steve Jobs, stay hungry, stay foolish. I'm sure the faculty at BMSIT will always be helpful and answering your questions, queries, and will work with you and collaborate with you. Even their learning never stops. So I'm sure you'll have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Participants, if you have any doubts, if you have any questions, please ask the questions to sir. You can post it in the chat box also, or else you can ask him directly.
Hello. Good morning, sir. This is Shriya from AI&ML.
Sure.
I would like to ask on further procedures or to do what after engineering. Could you elaborate on that? As in masters, what are the things I could do in India or abroad, or what kind of courses I could take? Like, what is the next path I could follow?
I think my recommendation will be more personal, so don't hold me onto it. It's just a thought, maybe thought for the day. So I would always prefer that once you complete your engineering, try getting a job, right? So I think that experience, once you go into pursuing even your higher studies, I would say, right? Again, it becomes a matter of choice for you. But having that experience prior to, let us say, pursuing your long streak of studies for students is a good pause to have. So you are completing your engineering, you're working for 1 to 2 years, and then during that course you decide as to what will be my future course of action. And some people are very academically oriented. Some people want to gain more knowledge. Some people want to gain that knowledge overseas, work with more professors, with diversity across the globe. And I did that as well. So I think, and then finally, if somebody has the patience, I would say, and somebody has a real intellect, then he or she would go on to pursue their PhD as well. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that once you get PhD, you have to stop at being a professor or anything like that, right? So there are so many PhD people working in the corporate world as well, so they finally get back as well. But it's just a matter of pride that you have gained so much experience and knowledge in the academia that you really know the subject matter very well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Good morning. This is Ananya, and I'm from AI&ML department of BMSIT.
Sure.
I have a question for you. I wanted to know how versatile AI/ML could be in the coming few years. We all know that in terms of technical background and electrical or mechanical, computer science, it can always be applied. But do we have far reach for this stream? And how creative can we get with this stream is what I wanted to know.
Sure. Well, I think quickly, if I can think of, so today I'm not seeing you, Ananya, let us say. You're seeing me, but you're seeing me through a screen, right? So you never know how the future will hold. And if you're seeing some of the, and on a lighter note again, I've always felt the Hollywood movies think much further than anybody else, right? So if you've heard of movies like Mission Impossible, and even if you see the part 1 or the part 2, there you will see applications which are now being still developed. So what I meant was you could be seeing a virtual reality person in me standing right in front of you and giving you that personalized experience that I'm talking only to you, right? I'm not talking to a screen. And today, as we speak, again, bringing in Hollywood, the next Tom Cruise movie is going to be shot in outer space, right? So there is no end to it, right? Either in terms of the movies that they're trying to use. I was reading somewhere that the pandemic, you cannot shoot outdoors, so they're bringing the whole outdoor world experience and simulating it within a studio. So, these are some of the examples, and the more data as we gather, let us say how geo is expanding in India, right? The more data we gather through, through mobile data of all you users, and there will be so much of personalized. At the end of the day, the consumer is the target, the customer is the target, the end user like you is the target. And how do those companies make your life easier, right? So I think it's endless in that sense. It's how you imagine and what you want to make out of it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, there is one more question in the chat box. I should read it out. Can you throw some light on the role of artificial intelligence in wireless communication?
Sure. From my limited knowledge, companies like Cisco or Huawei, are definitely researching in that. So today, if you enter a shop, enter a shopping mall, I would say, or the big shops like let's say Zara in Bangalore or something like that, right? So either they would, why are they giving you free Wi-Fi, right? Why are they asking you to download their application? Because that is when they get into your phone, right? That is when they get into your device. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Again, it depends on how are they using it, right? So Wi-Fi is definitely an area where a lot of, with the 5G and the other things coming in as well, a lot of developments will happen. And it is about, again, personalizing the whole experience for you from a wireless communication standpoint, and how our companies at the back end, so Cisco or the other companies that you might have heard of are at the back end, right? But how companies like like Reliance again, Reliance Retail, or any mobile communication company as well, will utilize it to make your life easier and their business more profitable, is the question.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, one more question.
Sure.
Many say that computer science, information science, and artificial intelligence are same. How exactly does AI differ from these two branches?
Great question. So fundamentally, like I said, I would advise. Again, let's go back 25 years when we made a choice, right? It was very funny, and it's a very real-time incident that I'm telling you. So we had a confusion as a bunch of friends between computer science and electronics and communication, right? So somebody said, one of our own friends, he said, I think electronics and communication is much more broader. While you can learn some coding in the second or the third semester, that much is enough, and then we get to learn more. Whereas the computer science people will always be learning coding. And that was our understanding back in the days, right? But in a way, that is fundamentally true, because see, today you might have heard stories of university dropouts like Mark Zuckerberg or whoever, all that. But they all went to good universities and then dropped out, right? Let us not forget that. So, but then any person who's coding can build any application today. So coding has to be there as a recreational activity, I would say today, right? Whoever likes it. It's like playing carom or spending 2 hours in cricket, and if you're able to find something recreational in coding, then try doing that, right? But then again, each branch has its own importance, and that is why it is great. And you would go into the depth of, let us say, networking within a computer science or information science. Why do we have? It's as good as asking what is the difference between a CIO and a CTO. And I will let you do your own homework, right? What is the definition of a chief information officer, and what is the definition of a chief technology officer, right? So they do overlap, but then some companies have both of them. So answering your question, I would say artificial intelligence is more pointed, has coding in the background, but hopefully I've not seen the course structure, but hopefully the course structure over the 4 years will be pointed more towards what kind of use cases, what kind of industries, what kind of solutions will be coming in, rather than just developing it, right? Whereas computer science is more about how the code works, how can you make it work better? Like I told you, how can you improve the processing speed from an electronics and technology standpoint? But I'm sure there is so much improvement in even inventing a new language, right? I spoke about C or C++ and Java. I mean, who knows? One of you pursuing computer science or information science can invent a new language itself. So every kind of people are needed, and it is your choice that you need to make that what you want to be achieving.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions? Sir, Darshan sir, before we move on to the next, we would like to play a video of our college, sir, BMSITM. So I would like to present, sir. I shall present it, sir. I will stop your presentation and I'll start my presentation, sir.
Please, yeah. Please.
Darshan, sir. Darshan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would request you to take a glimpse of our college campus and the facilities that we have at BMSITM. And before leaving, I would like to thank you also once the video session is over. So please stay with us for a couple of more minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Bhatti. Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay. Is it visible, ma'am?
Not yet, I think. Yeah.
So is it visible now?
Yes. I think you have to give the volume or unmute. Yeah.
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಮಾಡಿದೆ.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ವಿಡಿಯೋನು ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಕೇಳಿಯೂ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ.
This is the glimpse of our college BMSITM. Thank you, Darshan sir, for your wonderful words on artificial intelligence and machine learning. So we'll move on to the next session.
Darshan?
Next.
Anupama madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Darshan, are you here, Darshan? Darshan? I think you have lost connectivity. Yeah, we can move on to the next speaker. Darshan?
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Darshan, really we have our sincere gratitude for your talk that was very inspiring for the engineering aspirants and already who have joined the engineering with AI/ML department to choose as their career. The insights that you have given in a simplest way but means the most for us. We appreciate your time besides very busy schedule and getting adapted to this Indian timing. And we also would like to be with you for further endeavors. The Department of AML from BMSIT would take up further. Thank you, Darshan. Anupama, you can call in the next speaker.
Okay, so next session we have Shashidar Kulaguri with us. So here is a brief introduction of Dr. Shashidar Ji Kulaguri. He is Associate Professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering from NIT Surathkal. So his interest or research area or expertise area is on computer science and artificial intelligence, which includes speech and audio processing, image processing, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So he has done his PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and he has almost published 127 publications in reputed journals and conferences on artificial intelligence and machine learning. So with this brief introduction, now we welcome Shashidar Kulaguri sir for this webinar. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anupama madam. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Good morning to all of you. Congratulations to Darshan. He had given a nice insight for a person to be an engineer in AI&ML. So that would be really a motivating talk. I also thank BMSIT management for taking this nice initiative of letting the youngsters know why did they choose or why should they have to choose a particular stream. They are not only doing it in computer science or AI or ML, they are also doing it in all engineering streams, mechanical, civil, everything, if I'm not wrong. So that's a great initiative. So I have been asked to talk about AI and ML on behalf of the Department of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. I think it's a great opportunity for me to say some more, to share some of my thoughts with all of you. But initially, when I was thinking, I thought the audience will be +2 students or the students that to make their decisions what to join after their 12th. But now, if I see the audience, there are so many people with big mustaches, blazer, and tie, and also many faculty members. So I do not know what I should speak, and many students are also there. I'm seeing their registration number in their ID. So students already who have chosen AI and ML, just for them to boost their morale that they did not do any wrong choice. We are here, I suppose. And there are some students who are in their +2s. So we also have to give them some insight that what means just to support their decision. AI and ML, of course, is a new branch which is being introduced by AICTE, and the first institution in India, being the BMSIT, to have this course is a matter of proud for uh, the department, including HOD and the institution BMSIT as a whole. So now let me start very basic things, because we have started studying computer science. We have started studying machine learning. Once I say machine learning, machine here is a computer. Without a branch of computer science, or without knowing what computer science is, probably studying artificial intelligence and machine learning is not a right thing. It is not a prerequisite for AI and ML would be a computer science. I suppose most of the subjects, or majority of the subjects what AI ML students study also from the field of computer science. So once I say artificial intelligence, the intelligence which is artificial, which I'm putting on a machine. Machine is nothing but a computer. Means the purpose of that study, or the purpose of that branch, is to make computers think like human beings, make computers intelligent like human beings. So before we should know what computer science is, and what is the motivation for studying this computer science. Why should we study computer science? And the people with what mindset should choose computer science as a career, that we need to study. I said organizers that I will prepare some slides, but they preferred me not to use slides and talk. Even my webcam I have not made on because we may face some issues of bandwidth. Otherwise, you would have got a privilege of seeing a person with salt and pepper beard on your screen. Fine. So once we think of computers, uh, we need to decide whether computers are intelligent. Today's computers, what we are using, or at least once we think of computers, whatever notion we get into, whether those computers are intelligent. If it is a physical session, if I'm seeing you face to face in the same premises, I would have encouraged you to answer the basic questions which I ask. But now I cannot do that because you are in a huge strength of 60, and if all of you start talking, probably I will lose the track. So I ask the questions, you think of those questions, you think of those questions. If any one of you have got a very specific answer, then you can unmute your microphone. I do not know whether organizers have given that flexibility to you to unmute the microphone whenever you want, and you can answer in case if it is given. Otherwise, I'll be able to see the chat box. You can also answer through chat box. So the same question again, once you assume or you remember or you think of today's computers which we are using in the lab, majority of you might have seen laptops, including your mobile phones. So whether human beings are intelligent or computers are intelligent. When I ask this question, I do not know whether you give or you go to any specific party. Some of you may give answer that computers are intelligent. Some of you may give answers like human beings are intelligent. So one basic reason that we give for the argument that human beings are intelligent is human beings have created computers. But there is no rule that the creator should be more intelligent than creations. Many times, the things what we create are more intelligent or more sophisticated or more achieving compared to the creators, isn't it? So that might not be probably the right answer. Some aspects keep computers not intelligent. Probably I can use some other word for that. It is smart or efficient. Computers are smart or efficient than their creators, and human beings are, of course, I can use the word intelligent for them. So what makes human beings intelligent? Once I ask this question, then the most important answer that we get is human beings can learn from mistakes. If I do certain mistake today, tomorrow I will not do that mistake because I know what's the cost I had paid for that mistake. But computers do not do that. I hope all of you have got an experience of working with C language. If you miss semicolon today and you get an error saying that semicolon missing, And if you do a same mistake tomorrow and try to compile that program, you get the same error. Means computers which you are using for running your C program or per se C programming environment itself is not self-learning. If you do certain mistake, that mistake, if you do second time also, next time also, third time also, 100th time also, it tells that it's a mistake, but will not learn from that. And that mistake is also not very difficult mistake, so that it cannot be learned. Only one semicolon has to be put at the end of the statement as a statement terminator. Even third standard or fourth standard child can very easily learn it in the first attempt itself. If you teach the child that if you don't give a semicolon here, it will be a mistake, then it will not, or it will never do, the child will never do such mistake again. Computers are not able to learn. So many times we call computers as dumb machines. Dumb machines. They cannot learn from their mistake. But the case with human beings is totally different. Majority of the things that we learn, majority of the knowledge that we acquire is by doing certain mistakes. Other name for the mistake is probably the experience. An experienced man is more perfect because he has done many mistakes in his past. So number one, human beings learn from mistakes, so they are intelligent. So one of the important attributes of being intelligent is you should be able to learn from the environment. You should be able to learn from the examples. I do not only learn from my mistakes, I also learn from mistakes of others who are around me. If somebody murders someone, then court gives him a sentence and he will be in a jail. Then whenever a situation comes, I will think, or I hesitate to take a similar action which has led to a certain punishment to other person. That is learning by the mistakes of others. Right? Likewise, we learn from our own mistakes, we learn from the environment, we learn from the example, we learn from the mistakes of others, which is not true in case of machines that we are using in the lab today, computers that we are using in the lab today. Right? Then computers are useless. Computers cannot learn from their mistakes, so computers are useless if I say. What's your opinion? What's your opinion? Computers are not useless because in every walk of life today we are using computers. You go to a farmer in the field who is working, he will have a smartphone. Through his smartphone, he can register his crop and do a crop insurance. Smartphone is nothing but equivalent to a computer, or more sophisticated than the desktops that we use in the lab. So starting from the farmer, if you go to railway reservation counter, if you go to editor in some magazines or newspapers, if you come to a research person who plays a game, a person who sells vegetables, everyone wants computers in one form or the other form. So computers are not useless. Computers are not intelligent. They are dumb machines. Statement one side. And computers are not useless. Without them, it is very difficult. If in America internet is down for 1 hour or 5 minutes, whole operations, everything starting from their electric system will fail. So without computers, they cannot survive. At least in India, that situation has not come. Still, we are Atmanirbhar and self sufficient, reliable, something like that. But computers are most useful. Then what is the strength of computers? Why computers are useful? Computers can store something which you ask them to store and retrieve whenever you want them to get them back. Many times, once I see somebody, I feel that I have seen this person somewhere. Where did I see? I don't remember. It happens many times with my B.Tech students. I forget many times whether a student is second year student, third year student, or final year student. This happens to human beings because human beings are very poor in managing their memory. Human beings are very poor in managing their memory. I myself do not know what is size of my hard disk, secondary storage. Huge information I can store there. Everything which I have seen from my childhood till today, up to 50 years, things are stored in one or the other form in my secondary memory, in my storage. Sometimes I'll be able to retrieve them, sometimes I'll not be able to retrieve. The reason may be anything. You also might have experienced many times the word which I want to say, the concept I know, but that word doesn't come in a particular language. I say that word is in my mouth, but I'm not able to say that. So these kind of things happen in case of human beings because we are very poor in managing our memories. But have you seen a condition where you have saved one file yesterday and today once you try to retrieve it, your computer says, it is in my mind but I'm not getting it. It is in my memory but I'm not getting it. Wait for 5 minutes, I'll get it back. You never. So storing and retrieval. Computers are very efficient compared to human beings. If you store something there, it is permanent, unless and until that hard disk itself stops functioning. Fine, that's one thing. The other thing, other aspect where computers are very powerful. Say, for example, I ask you to write one assignment, one question I will give you, and I will ask you to write this assignment 5 times because you have missed a class. Normally, teachers give these kind of punishments once we were very young, isn't it? Like third standard, fourth standard. So you write very happily. You think that, oh, this punishment is fine. So next time also I can plan for writing 5 times and I can miss the class. You write it 5 times and you take it to teacher. Teacher says, okay, it's fine, and now write it for 10 minutes, 10 times. You think there is some gadbad, and you write for 10 times and show it to teacher. Teacher asks you to write it for 100 times. Earlier days, my friends used to write before, if tomorrow is an exam and if it is a very tough exam, they used to write in a paper Om Namah Shivaya for 100 times, 108 times. Now teachers are asking you to write some assignment of 10-15 lines for 100 times. With some murmur, something, you write that and you will show it to them. So teachers ask you to write it for 1,000 times. Probably you revolt and you ask, why madam 1,000 times? It's not possible. Even if you write, the neatness of the handwritings, the way you write, the style of writing, if you see the first time and the last time, there's a huge difference. Human beings are not perfect in doing the mundane tasks. If you ask human beings to do the same thing again and again, they are not very efficient or they feel bored. That is the reason why many jobs are not efficient for human beings.
Ma'am, sir might have muted or there could be network issue, ma'am.
We'll get that. Dear participants, please stay back with us. He'll be rejoining.
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
So we were discussing computers are efficient in doing the same thing again and again, where human beings are not. Fine. So if you have certain tasks which repeatedly you have to do, then computers are better options than human beings. And as I said, majority of the tasks that we do on everyday basis is repetition. So computers are more useful. But computers can understand only quantitative things. Quantitative things means if you can express something in the form of some numbers, then computer can work very well on those numbers. On the other hand, human beings are very qualitative in nature. Very qualitative. So I have a feeling of happiness. That is one of the attributes of quality. But computer, I cannot say computer is happy or computer is sad. Everything it knows as some number, it works, it doesn't have feeling. Human beings are more qualitative in nature. I can decide something, this is good, this is bad. Computers can't. Even if you want them to do, they'll be doing it based on certain numbers. So if some qualitative things are to be done, human beings are good. If some quantitative things are to be done, computers are good. If you think that majority of the work that you do are quantitative things, then probably you need to learn computers and you need to ask your computers to do those tasks on behalf of you. And in fact, computers are can be very well compared to the human beings. As a human being, we have memory, we have CPU, we have input device, we have output device. So while modern computers are designed, or the concept is given by what is his name? Von Neumann architecture of computing. He had thought all of these things. He gave a name for that as a stored program concept, where you have a memory, you have a CPU. CPU can have two directional communication with the memory. There's an input device from where you can take some inputs, take information from the memory, process this input, and produce the output. We also do the same thing. Probably all our sense organs are the input devices. I feel whether something hot or not through my skin. I hear something in the form of words or sentences. So these are all inputs to me. I see something. Vision is an input. All these things are inputs to me, and my brain processes all these things and it takes certain decisions, and accordingly I do certain action. If somebody hits me, I will hit him back. Somebody hits me, my skin or my part which is being hit takes it as an input, and I hit him back. It's an output. Something had happened inside my mind. That is different. If a person who has hit me is very strong, then probably I run away. So output action which I take based on certain processing. The same thing you are seeing in case of computers. But where I am efficient as a human being is in qualitative analysis of the situation. But computer cannot do that. If you ask your computer to hit back when somebody hits you, irrespective of the situation, whatever it is, it will try to hit. But as a human being, I think whether it is the right time to hit or escape. Then I take accordingly the decision. So as I said, majority of the things what we do in our day-to-day life are mundane tasks, and they can be very easily converted into quantitative tasks. So majority of the tasks you are doing are quantitative tasks, and if you want to be efficient in that, you know that human beings are not efficient in that. So obviously you need to use something else. So computers are the options, because computers are very efficient in doing quantitative tasks. So if you have something in your mind, automation, I can do this, I can I can do this kind of thing, like driverless vehicles. Driving is a very routine job which we do. So why should we do that? If I train my computer with all necessity things, then computers can themselves drive driverless jobs, driverless cars. So likewise, if you have an ambition in your mind that I should make all quantitative works automatic, using computers you can do that. Then you should choose it. You should choose that field. How can I do this? I have to give instructions to computers. I can give instructions to my computers, and those computers can follow that. How can I give instructions to computers? I can give instruction to anybody if I know his or her language. Right? So computer knows only C language. You need to learn a language. According to application, according to need, there are different languages. Say for example, earlier in 1960s, computers were used only for business applications. So majority of the languages of that time were catering to the needs of business. Example, COBOL, Common Business Oriented Language. Around the same time, computers were used mostly in big labs to do big calculations. DRDO, rocket science, Prithvi missile development, big calculations where normal calculators cannot do. So a language was developed which was helpful only in doing this kind of calculation, Fortran, formula translation. Fine. In 70s, people thought that computers are to be more generalized. They cannot be used only for the specific purpose. So the language in which we talk to them also should be a little general, not task specific or application specific. So C came into picture. C is called a general purpose language. General purpose language. So that way, computers are becoming more general compared to their very specific use earlier. So we need to learn that language. We need to know what to write or what to write as a program through this language to instruct my computers. So programming I should learn. If you are able to do that, if programming is your already majority of you, I know, learned some programming languages. Even if you are +2 students, you might have come across some computer language in your high schools. Programs might have been introduced to you, programming languages might have been introduced to you, and if that is your passion, really it gives a thrill, isn't it? Once I write some instructions and computer does it for me and it gives me that result, I will be thrilled. So nice. So if your passion is this, then computer science is a field for you. If your passion is automation, computer science is a field for you. If your passion is developing new applications, then computer science and IT is a field for you. This is one part. This is one part, up to some extent. So after this, I want to make this computer intelligent. Whatever computers I had, they are all dumb machines. They can perfectly do the task whatever I say. For me, they are like Alauddin Chirag. Whatever you say, it will do it. Quantitatively more efficient, probably not qualitatively. But you want to make it a qualitatively efficient machine, model. I want my computer to think the way I am thinking. I want my computer to understand from the examples around it. That is intelligence. I want to build this intelligence into computers, CPU, memory, brain, whatever you call. But is it easy? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Normally, all machines or equipment, whatever we see in our day-to-day life, are inspired by their biological counterparts. I see a bird flying, then I get something into mind. That's a motivation for inventing aeroplanes. I see fish are floating, submarines, big ships, boats. So for any invention, the motivation is their biological counterparts. So for intelligence also, if you take the biological counterpart as motivational things, it is very difficult, because till today it is not very clearly known how human beings think, how human beings remember, store the knowledge, how human beings use that knowledge. It's not known. Some preliminary ideas we have, even we do not know that's right or not. That's what I remembered. Somebody said that science is continuously changing fiction. Fiction, fiction is something fantasy, imaginable, and I write it. That's a fiction. But science is definitely not a fiction. Science is based on certain findings. Science is based on certain proofs. It is a science, because if it is based on certain findings, and if we say everything that we see in the science is a fact, it should not change. But science is continuously changing. Earlier, we thought sun comes around Earth. Science, it was a science based on certain experiments. Later, people said, no, Earth comes around sun. People said earlier Earth is flat. Later, they say Earth is round. So, based on your knowledge and the instruments that you use to find, your knowledge changes. Your scientific findings change. Scientific findings change. So science is continuously changing. Once science is continuously changing, your knowledge is also changing, and whatever you want to imbibe on computers, that technology is also changing. Your aim is to make machines learn. That is true. They have to learn from experience. They have to learn from examples. How today's computers are learning? They are learning based on algorithms. Algorithmic functionality does not change. I suppose for majority of you know what algorithms are now. Algorithm is sequence of instructions to solve certain problem. How to find square of a number? If I ask this question, then you write some steps. Take a number, multiply the number by itself. That is a square. This is a sequence of doing that. If you change the instructions in the sequence, you will not get the result. So you need to follow that sequence, and if you run the same that method for 1,000 times also, that approach will not change. That's called as algorithm. Your today's computers are working based on algorithms. But do you think human beings are working on algorithms? No. We are not working on algorithms. Say for example, morning I started from my home, and my intention is to reach my department or office. So today my cycle got punctured and I don't have bicycle to move. So I was walking on a road. My friend's car comes. He offers me a lift. I come by car. In 2-3 minutes I reach my office. Tomorrow I leave home, and while coming on the way, I get a bike drop. I come by bike. I had not decided in advance that this way itself I have to reach. The algorithm was not given to me for my traveling from my home to office. Situationally, I took a decision and the best possible option I chose, and I came here. Fine. But today's machines are not working like that. Even if they had got better option, they will not follow that because you had given them instruction to follow. They follow only that instruction, they get to the result. Results are perfect, but an option of becoming more optimal is not possible by following algorithmic approach. While coming to college, I see a situation around me. Should I walk? Should I go by car? Should I go by bike? Should I take a bus? All these things I decide, and the most feasible and the best option, optimal option I choose to reach my office. That is a non-algorithmic approach. I do it based on my experience. So that I have to make in computers. Computers should be able to do that. Our modern machine learning algorithms are doing it. Things are not that easy as computer scientists do. Computer scientists work with dumb machines. They want some quantitative works to be automated, and they are passionate to write programs, and they will do that. But as AI and ML experts, or as a person who has chosen AI and ML as a career, you have altogether different responsibilities. First, you should understand how human beings think, how human beings take decision, how human beings learn from experience. Then you need to make your machine to do this. Not that easy. Not that easy. As per the known knowledge, human brain, human mind, human neurons, they have a chemical base. But what you have in computer system as a storage or CPU, whatever it's not chemical. It's material. It is some silicon material. So mapping the activities that happen in a chemical base on a chemical base and which are supposed to happen on a silicon base, material base, it's a very difficult task. But whenever difficulty comes, people had always taken it as a challenge and they had found out a way for it. Isn't it? That is a responsibility of all of you. As people who have chosen AI and ML as a career, you need to do this. You need to make your machines learn from the examples as human beings do that. You might have heard Gaussian mixture model, support vector machines, is artificial neural networks, deep learning. Just you might have heard the words. I do not expect you to have a detailed idea about all these things, but I suppose you have known these words. These are all new algorithms which are parts of ML, and those make machine to learn as human beings are learning. So if you are passionate about making your computers think like human beings, now you know, as the earlier speaker also was telling, I do not know whether you have experienced or not. If I am browsing something and search the airfare between Mangalore and Delhi now, in the evening when I am browsing or seeing my mail, I get several advertisements saying that cheapest airfare between Mangalore and Delhi. Means your computers are already intelligent to some extent. They are studying what you are doing. They are studying what you are doing. And based on that, they behave with you. Say your call, what is called as voice dialing system. If I take my phone and say Appa, then my father's number is called. What does it mean? Your mobile computer is understanding what you speak. It may not be understanding that everything you speak, but at least it's understanding words now. It understands Appa and it searches for Appa in your contact list and it dials that number. You need not have to open the lock, you need not have to search the contacts, you need not have to click it, double click, choose the SIM, you don't have to do anything of this. This is intelligent. Today, today you have mobile phones which will enter into automatically vibration mode once you enter into meeting room. Say you are entering the meeting room, it senses your mobile phone senses the situation around you. It understands that it is a meeting room. Then automatically it enters into vibration mode or silence mode. So systems are already becoming intelligent, but we need to make them more intelligent. Any and every decision they should be able to take. And as I said, this intelligence comes from your data processing capability. How fast you can recall whatever you have saved, how fast you can process whatever information you have there in your mind, how fast you can learn from your mistakes. All these things will help you to take efficient decisions. Now computers should be able to do that. Then they will behave as you are behaving. Expert systems you might have heard. Computer will give you, use this section of IPC, Indian Penal Code, if a person has done this mistake. It acts as a legal expert and computer gives you opinion on the case. Computer gives you opinion as a doctor. If you give it symptoms, then probably it tells that this is the disease you have and take this medicine. You also might have heard there was one software called as Deep Blue. Deep Blue. Anyone came across this name? Software Deep Blue program? You can unmute and say if you want to. At least one question let me ask. It is a program, computer program, which defeated Gary Kasparov in chess. Gary Kasparov is a grandmaster. Computer has defeated him. Obviously not because it is intelligent, but because it can remember so many things, so many moves that you can do on chessboard that computer has remembered. It has learned all the things and it did a proper move. Even Gary Kasparov could not remember all those things and do the moves properly, and he was defeated. This way, a lot of efforts are being made towards making your computers intelligent. So machine learning algorithms have come for that. If you are passionate about it, then AI and ML is the right choice of you. So with this, I don't want to make you more bored. So just it was conversation kind of a thing, casual conversation amongst us. Very basic things, preliminary things, what we should be passionate about if you want to find a career in computer science, what we should be passionate about if you want to find a career in AI and ML. That in a very layman terms I have put. Of course, there's a huge, if you want me to speak another 3-4 minutes, if you give me another 3-4 minutes on that, there's a huge scope in today's world for AI and ML that I want to highlight. From industry perspective, already you know what are the prospects. From the research front or from the application front, everywhere today you see you have intelligent appliances. Your washing machines more intelligent than before. Your iron box more intelligent than before. Simply I can say they are not more intelligent, they are better programmed. They are better programmed means I can put some cloths in washing machine now and I can set that it is a cotton cloth, it is more dirt, it is less dirt, it's greasy. All those settings I can do, and it washes for you. That's fully automatic washing machine. But based on the cloths you have put inside, your washing machine cannot take a decision what kind of cloths these are, whether they are greasy, whether they are very dirty, or what. These decisions they cannot do, because that's the reason why I told they are not intelligent, but they are better programmed. Even while you use your iron box also, you can decide which kind of cloth I am ironing. Maybe majority of you might not be knowing, some 30 years, 40 years before, we had coal iron boxes where every one human being has to decide what is the temperature, how much time you have to put there, what is the pressure you have to apply, everything. So now the trend or era is making everything computerized, making everything intelligent. IoT, you might have heard, Internet of Things. I should be able to use a remote. Using the same remote, I should be able to operate with my fan, with my TV, with my AC, with my door, everything. This is a network of heterogeneous things. So if whole world wants to move towards automation and intelligent appliances, then obviously there is a huge scope for people who have domain knowledge of AI and ML. Everywhere, anything, any area you take, automobiles you take, then recently I came to know even what are those called as power loom machines, the machines which knit your cloths, those also can be programmed to create different designs and different color combinations. So this is the era of automation. Human beings want everything that they use should be automated, and they should work in a most efficient way to fulfill their needs. So your responsibility is more. You have more opportunities. Anywhere, everywhere you go, you have. If you want to do a job. Anywhere, everywhere you go, universities, you have research options. If you want to choose your career in academics. Anywhere, everywhere, and you go and create your own office, create your own company. You have a lot of projects to do. The only thing is, you should be passionate about doing it. There are two things, love marriage and arranged marriage. If you love someone and marry, then you can be happy. But if you marry, at least you start doing or start loving a person whom you have married. So you are here in AI and ML. You need to learn ins and outs. You need to learn requirements. You need to start loving them. You need to start involving with them. You need to start realizing and feeling for them. That's what I say many times. Whatever you do, you should have feeling for that. Once you have a feeling for that, automatically outcome will be more efficient. Outcome will be perfect. So all students who are already in AI and ML, see that you gather more knowledge in that field. Initially, you need to gather the basic theoretical knowledge about that. Do certain internships about different areas of your interest in good academic institutions, India and abroad, ISCs, IITs, NITs. You get contact, you see a profile of a faculty person, then you send a mail. During your summer vacation, you go there, stay with them for 2 months, 3 months, take some extra permission of 15 days, 20 days from the college, you stay with them 3 months with that faculty member in big institutions, good institutions. Learn what they are doing from his or her PhD students, from the team in AI and ML, what exactly they are doing, what is the research going on. Go to some companies, go to certain companies who are working in AI and ML field, be with them for 3 months, see what are the things that what are the problems that they are trying to solve. If you do that, you get certain moral courage and certain moral support that whatever field we are in, that's a nice field. We have a lot of opportunities in that. That also will give you certain motivations. And also you can start your own startups now itself. If you have some good ideas, your institute will support you to start a startup. If that you can do, then definitely you have a bright future. And again, it is said that any field, whatever field it is, if you are among top 5% in the domain and in the locality, geographical locality where you are thinking, if you are thinking that my competition area is India, then you should be top 5% in India in your field. Then obviously there will be flourish. Probably if you take AI&ML, top 5% can be put as top 25% because you have a lot of opportunities. If you are amongst top 25, then you can do anything in the field. Fine. So with this, I thank the organizers for giving me opportunity to say a few words, and I also thank all of you for being patientful in hearing me. Probably your mics are not unmutable; they are forcefully muted. So you have become a nice silent audience. So anyway, I thank all of you for that. So this ends from my side, and if there are any quick questions, we can take. Thank you.
Participants, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions from your end? You can put it in the chat box or you can ask sir directly. Okay, if there are no questions from the participant side, so I thank Shashidar sir. Shashidar sir, thank you so much for your wonderful words on artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now I request our HOD, Dr. Bharti Malak Reddy. Thank you, sir. And now I request our HOD Bharti Malak Reddy for giving the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Anupama. Yes, it's a privilege to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of Department of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning from BMSIT. Extends a very hearty vote of thanks to our beloved Principal Sir, Vice Principal Sir, special speakers of the day for this sessions, deans, HODs, and colleagues, and especially the student friend community who has joined for this webinar series in spite of their schedules and their studies. So I would like to extend special thanks to the principal sir for inspiring us and to take programs that has impact towards the progress of student community, society, and nation as a whole. So placing our sincere gratitude to Darshan and Dr. Kulaguri, who clearly mentioned why engineering as a career, as a study of higher education, and a clear mention of what really AI and artificial intelligence and machine learning as a branch, prospects, scopes, career, entrepreneurship. So in a large dimension, they have given the idea. And I would like to tell that during this period where the PUC students have written exams, are in search of their branches, we could find many parents visiting the department asking for the difference between CS, computer science, and artificial intelligence. And I think the two speakers who were there for today's webinar has brought us a very clear picture, technically telling the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning in a very simple way, but means in a large picture you can paint yourself on this canvas of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So I really thank you for this time that you have made and inspiring our youngsters who have joined AML and who are yet to join the AI&ML department for shaping up their career and their studies. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thanks, madam. Thanks, madam. Thank you. Thank you. Good effort. Good AI&ML department. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Shashidar sir.
Thank you, sir.